the epiphany that I had, I think that's something that all of us, everyone watching, no matter what type of photographer you are, one thing I think we all have in common is that photography has made us see the world in a different way. After you start shooting, whether it's people, animals, weddings, cars, sports, it doesn't matter. As soon as you start picking up a camera and shooting with it, you start to see the world differently. You start to notice patterns and shadows and textures, and maybe you'll see clouds in the sky that you would have never paid attention to before. It makes us appreciate and see the world differently, and it's why we all get into photography. It's why when we pick up a camera, it's what makes us appreciate life more. It's one of the foundational principles, and I think rewards from photography. And I think something that I've been going through over the last several years is that has been gone for me. I got so used to shooting in a certain way that I would walk up to a scene like you see behind me, and I wouldn't necessarily see it differently. I would just see it as the photographer that I was, and nothing necessarily about that excited me because I had gotten so used to going out all the time, living on the road, full time for years, just day in and day out, trying to make videos like this one and take photos like the one you see behind me. And it just became second nature to me. It's not that I didn't appreciate seeing things like this. It's that I didn't have that excitement about photography because I was just seeing the world as I knew it. I had gotten so used to seeing it this way that I didn't see anything new. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to remove what I see and try to see what I don't see. And by seeing what I don't see, by restricting myself to just this camera and lens, it means I can't take what I normally see. It means that when I see orcas off the coast, or birds that I want to photograph, or big wide-angle shots with really nice light, I can't take them. But what can I take?
I've been feeling tender lately, thinking you don't want to be my baby. I've been nearly going crazy, wondering why you won't tell it to me plainly. Yes, love takes a certain kind of bravery, and you've got armor on that you can't break free. And I know, honey, there is no guarantee, but I've got courage to find out what could be. I don't want to be.
All right, so I've currently been awake for a little over 4 hours. I think I've got about 5 brain cells to my name still for some reason. Just can't get a good coherent thought out. I guess that's not much different than how I normally sound on camera. This is all I brought. This camera, this bag, a little Osmo that's filming me right now. I sat in front of all of my gear trying to plan for this trip to the San Juan Islands, and I was like, okay, well, there's orcas and whales and foxes on the island, wildlife lens. And there's big shots like this that I would want to shoot for sunset, wide-angle lens. And the more I added to the bag, the more I didn't want to. I didn't want to bring that heavy bag and have all of those options. I was just gonna bring it all, shoot all of it, and just photograph what I know. And the more I thought about just minimalizing down to just a camera and a lens, I was like, can I do that? Am I allowed to do that? To be honest, I was scared. I was scared to just go and just leave the house with just this, when I have all the other options in the world. But the truth is, doing so has made me see this trip differently. We've only been here for, 24 hours at this point. But I've just noticed, even on the boat over here, that I was finding shots and seeing images that I wouldn't normally see because I might see something that I already know, something that I would want to shoot immediately. I read a quote that said, "Growing as an artist is not about mastering the craft, but it's about the struggle to see the world in a different way. And I don't know who said it, otherwise I would give them credit. And I resonate with that quote a lot, because I've definitely been struggling to see the world in a different way and trying to find a different footing in my own work. But this is a good step in the right direction. So one of the things I really like right now about the light and the shapes and the textures of this lighthouse, am I even in this shot? Again, 4 brain cells. We're working on 4 brain cells right now, which is below average. I'm usually at about 6. What was I saying? Yeah, see, nothing's working. Oh, this is a cool shot. Hold on. Do I have enough zoom? Not really, but I'm gonna take it anyways. There we go. But what I'm focused on here is the textures and the shapes from the lighthouse. But what's really interesting, if I just walked up and took this particular shot, it's not all that interesting. It kind of just looks like a boring snapshot of the lighthouse. But if we simplify and remove all of the ground pieces and we zoom into something like this, the intention of the image becomes a lot more clear. To me, if I take this image, it's hopefully telling the viewer to pay attention to the lines, shapes, textures, and colors and contrast of the lighthouse. You've got this nice bit of shadow on the right-hand side, and underneath you've got the white and red, and then contrasted really well with the surrounding blue sky. But it's so different than this in terms of being able to tell the viewer what I want them to see. It's a bit more about showing the lighthouse in a way, in my opinion, with a different view on it. Man, that was about as articulate as, God, I can't even make a pun for articulate. All right, we've lost a brain cell. We're down to 3 brain cells. We're on 3. It's an image of the lighthouse that I like. Man, you would think I do this for a living. Sophia, what are we doing?
Orca spotting.
How many are there?
At least 5.
Definitely think there's more than 5.
I've counted 5.
Do you wish I had brought my longer lens now?
Yeah, honestly.
Would I have gotten any good photos though?
Probably not. They're very far away.
So you just want it to be able to see out of?
Yeah. Yeah, for the memes.
Is it disappointing that I didn't bring it?
No, because I can see them out of the binoculars. But we only have 1 pair of binoculars.
He's kicking his feet.
Oh!
You see him?
Yeah.
I'll admit, that footage would have been much better with my larger lens and this, the JJ06 Glide Go video tripod. This is from Ulanzi, who kindly sponsored this video. Can your tripod do this? I doubt it. Now, don't go skipping ahead if you're a photographer, as they also have photography version of this tripod known as the JJ05. Now, you might be asking, why the heck does the center column do that? So that you can get shots like this one of Sophia right on the fly. The glide head allows you to get smooth dolly-like shots without any extra equipment. It also has a lot of applications to photography as well, such as quickly allowing you to get overhead shots and getting lower to the ground without having to detach the center column or needing any tools. Best of all, it gets really tall. Really tall. One huge drawback of compact travel tripods is that they rarely get this tall. This one gets over 6 feet in a pinch while having the flexibility to be extra stable using just the single section of the center column, so you get the best of both worlds. On top of all that, the video tripod comes with a built-in screwdriver right in the handle. I cannot believe how convenient this is if your tripod plate gets loose or you just need to tighten something out in the field. The feet are removable to add spikes. The tripod legs are fully adjustable to 80 degrees. It includes Ulanzi's Yuka quick release system and their carbon fiber to reduce weight while still supporting up to 5 kilograms at the head. Whether you're looking for a compact photography or video tripod, both of what Ulanzi has to offer are compelling options, especially at their price. You can grab one today through any of the links in the description or by scanning the QR code that's on the screen now. Thank you to Ulanzi again for sponsoring this video. One thing that's really interesting about gear is that when you're first starting out, I actually think the best thing you can do is try everything. I always recommend to get a zoom lens, something like a 24 to 105, 24 to 120 at this point, to just find what you enjoy shooting, whether it's super wide angle, telephoto, or anything in between. You really don't know what you want to shoot when you're starting out, and you can't really find it unless you have all the options. The problem is, I've seen it happen where there are people out there that end up getting all the options, and then they don't know what to shoot. They have every option in their bag. They walk up to a scene. I've seen it with clients on workshops, and they go, I don't know what to shoot. I don't know what lens should I use? What am I trying to find? Sometimes they end up missing the shots because they try to do it all. They set up their second camera with the second lens, and then they don't actually get the shot that they set up the first time. Decision paralysis. It can be tough to find what you want to shoot, but thankfully, eventually, hopefully, you reach a stage where you're more comfortable. You can walk up to a scene and know the type of shot that you want to take. Whether it's being able to see your style, being able to know the images that you want to put in your portfolio or the images that you're trying to get better at. You can walk up, see a shot, and say, that's what I'm going to work on. I was there. And the problem was I had moved so far past that I just got complacent. I would walk up, I'd be like, well, I've only got about 6 brain cells right now, so I'm just going to shoot this wide shot and I'm not going to think about anything else because it'll work. It means that I would always walk away with something decent, or I would put my best effort in because that's what I knew to shoot. And in some ways, that was my style. That's what created my look as a photographer. It's what made me as an artist. The problem was I started to get bored with it. I started to be inspired by other people. I started to want to see and experience the world differently, or see things differently.
Wow, an absolutely beautiful sunset where I walk away with a great image that will slot quite well into my portfolio. I love being in the moment and taking the photograph, just as I did when I was in Patagonia or Bryce Canyon earlier this year. I just don't connect with the final result nearly as much as I would like, or I would have not too long ago. You see, there's this internal battle going on within myself to do what I know will work, rather than pushing myself and take a risk to possibly walk away with nothing presentable.
But I couldn't break my habits. I would always just end up shooting what I know. I would get to a scene and I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna shoot a wide angle shot. And the sun would get good, and I felt like I hadn't gotten anything good when I was forcing myself to see differently. And of course I would get the camera out, I'd take the wide angle shot and I'd be like, all right, well, I got something. In reality, I actually think what would have been better is not to do any of that, and to just walk away with nothing but the experience of trying to see differently. So maybe I'm there now, and that is why I've showed up with just one camera and one lens, because I want to get to places and see differently. And the only way to really force myself to do that is to let it all go and just walk up and force myself to just see what else I can see without being able to audible or crutch on all the things that I know. Especially today, when I was working with about 4 brain cells. It's sunset right now, and I still think maybe I made it to 6, if I'm lucky. Yeah.
Do you ever feel
So like I said, this is not a gear video, but I did promise you that I would talk a little bit about the X-E5 in this lens and why I chose it. It's actually a really simple answer: weight, and that this is the newest camera I had, and that I really wanted to try it out. The thing is, I plan on doing a review of the X-E5, like a more thorough review, and I felt like if I just shot with the kit lens, that it was kind of a disservice to this camera. Not putting another lens on it, an interchangeable lens, would mean that I'm just walking around with an X100VI and just comparing it to that the whole time, when in reality, this is the biggest reason to try this camera out. So I got the 16-55 version 2, that is smaller and lighter than the older version, and my expectations are actually exceeded. Now, I'm gonna have more thoughts about specifically this lens in a blog post down below when I eventually write it. It might not be live by the time this video goes live, but overall, it's so much lighter than I expected it to be. It's this weird, you look at it and I pick it up and I'm like, oh, that's a lot lighter than I was expecting. What do you think? You walked around with it a little bit.
It's nice. And having the zoom is a lot of fun. It makes a big difference.
I handed it to her the first time and she's like, oh.
But the weight is not that bad, you're right. It's pretty comparable to this one. And if anything, having that lens kind of stick out a little bit, it makes it so that the camera doesn't bounce around when you're walking around. It anchors it a bit more to you.
That's true. One last thing about the camera that I forgot to mention is that it also takes images straight out of camera. I don't have to edit with it. That's kind of a big deal. So this was one of the reasons I picked this particular camera, was because I could use recipes and film simulations and stuff. I am shooting on JPEG and RAW throughout the video, but all the images in the video will very likely be basically straight out of camera unless I say otherwise. Okay, seal time?
Seal time!
All right, good luck.
I don't wanna talk about it, I just wanna roll down. And we can work it out. Maybe when we hit the ground. Oh, but baby, for now, I don't wanna talk about it.
Sophia and I have made it to another island. It is a new day. We've showered. I've got at least 10 brain cells today. Yesterday was a fluke. I don't know what's going on. Couldn't formulate a single thought if you paid me money, which kind of is what I do here on this channel, I guess, is try to formulate thoughts and hopefully get paid. Anyways, I've been thinking a lot on this trip and thinking a lot about creativity. And there's a famous quote. I'm going to butcher the quote, so I'm just going to say what the quote means. And it basically says that restrictions breed creativity. And I've been thinking about this a lot in the context of music. Specifically, if you think about your favorite band, or maybe 5 of your favorite bands, favorite artists, musicians, it's very likely that their most critically acclaimed famous albums are one of their first 3 albums. Now, I'm not saying there's not bands that have an exception from this. A great example of an exception is Fleetwood Mac, who I'm pretty sure didn't have their breakout album until like their 11th album. There's also bands like, Rush, slightly biased. Anyways, 99% of the musicians you listen to, some of their best work is likely created when they had less, when they didn't make as much money, when they had no money, when they had no equipment, when they weren't signed to a label, when they just had that drive, to make it, that thing that where they're like, I just want to become either rich, famous, the best musician, something along those lines. But those restrictions are what breeds all of that creative output. Unless you're someone like Pink Floyd or the Beatles or whatever, because somehow they had it, I don't know, probably drugs. And it's those restrictions that put you in places that make you be more creative. And it's something I've been experiencing a lot just by restricting myself. And I've tried to do it over the last year or two. Even if I'm just going out for like an hour, even if I'm just stepping away, I'm going to leave everything behind and I'm only going to take a single camera or lens and just force myself to be more creative. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to remove what I see and try to see what I don't see. And by seeing what I don't see, by restricting myself to just this camera and lens, it means I can't take what I normally see. It means that when I see orcas off the coast, or birds that I want to photograph, or big wide-angle shots with really nice light. I can't take them, but what can I take? And then when I have to ask the question, what can I take? I'm walking through scenes and I'm seeing things that I wouldn't have seen before. I'm seeing the way the light touches certain leaves, or the way the path curves around, and the way the shadows are helping guide you through that image. Anything like that, I'm just seeing more. I'm seeing differently. I'm thinking outside of my comfort zones. And thus, I'm excited to pick up my camera and look through the viewfinder, to see the world differently again. And that's basically what I've been trying to do in this video, or what I've been trying to do for over a year and a half at this point. But this video is a culmination of all of that, and just leaving it all behind to force myself to be excited and see the world in the ways of when we first picked up a camera. It's almost like I'm starting over again, except I don't have to learn the exposure triangle, or, you know, what camera's the best camera to buy, which is really nice, because that kind of stuff, you know, you learn it once and you're like, I'm good. Anyways, that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope there was something insightful here for you, and I hope you enjoyed some of the images that I was able to capture in my time here in the San Juan Islands. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me yap when I've got about 7 brain cells to my name. Yeah, I lost 3 talking right now. It's been a good trip, and I'm glad I got to bring you along. If you've enjoyed this kind of content, just give the video a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already and you've made it this far into the video. There's got to be a ramp out there somewhere. We just got to go find them. Later.